Hi, this is Trinesha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about what's right in front of you. So, what made me want to talk about what's right in front of you is I was watching this movie earlier. I'm probably not going to mention the name, I might, we'll see. But it really had me thinking about some of the things that I've done in life, and I feel comfortable expressing this because, now that I'm older, that's so long ago, it really doesn't matter anymore, and, things like that. So, I'm watching this movie. And like typical movies, this is how girly I have become. I don't know if it's something in the water. I don't know if it's the single season. I don't know what it is. But I have every once in a while, I will watch a rom-com. That's a romantic comedy movie. Usually, I like to watch horror movies because it's more realistic. Like if something scary is coming, you're gonna run. Rom-coms are kind of like, oh, I fell and all of a sudden this is the person that I end up with forever. Like that doesn't happen. I mean, it could happen, like winning the lottery and stuff like that. But and I'm not saying that to suggest anything. I'm just saying it as an example. And so so I don't know what's happening, but apparently I watch those types of movies now. And hopefully it doesn't ruin me. you know? And so I was just sitting there, and as I was thinking, I started to think about how. So let me just put the example out there. So in this movie, there's this girl, and she's under all this pressure with her family, and they want her to get married. She doesn't want to get married. She's got this best friend that she's grown up with. And her best friend, you can kind of tell that he likes her, but it's like one of those things. And I don't know if men are like this. Men probably are like this, but they probably do it a little differently. But and maybe this isn't all women, so maybe I'm over like I shouldn't say it as a general statement. Maybe I should just say me personally. So, but I was gonna say most women, let's just put it that way. Most women, when you have a guy that's a friend that likes you, most of the time we don't know. I don't know if it's blinders. I don't know if it's we just don't think that someone that's like that could like us because we see all these dramatic relationships online in society around us or whatever else. So the example that we get for what a relationship is going to look like isn't what it actually is. And every relationship is a little different. So when we think about the type of person that we're with, we don't think about that person being our best friend until, you get older and you realize that that's an important thing. Like most of the time when you're younger, or most of the time when if you haven't been in a serious relationship or anything like that, you don't really notice that that is an important characteristic trait. Usually, I don't know if all women are like this, but I notice most women, we will see something in a guy that we like. It could be good or bad for us. We could pick out these little qualities that we think are great about this one person instead of the most important ones. Like, who is this person at their core? Like, are they really a kind person to other people? Like, are they really equally yoked? Can this person really be my best friend? And we really downplay friendship like as if it's like not what it is. I don't know about you, but in the future, whoever I'm with is going to be like my best friend. I don't want to be with somebody who I feel like I can't be comfortable talking to, like I got to be afraid to express how I feel about anything, or I'm walking on eggshells, or, if they're completely judgmental of me. I want to be with a person who completely accepts me as I am, you know, and I know they would want me to accept them as they are, like not to change them into something else. And I don't mean evolving and growing through life because that's normal. I mean, like this person is a person who doesn't like to talk a lot. I can't just make that person talk a lot just because I want them to. They have to be true to who they are. And it's so funny. What made me want to title this video or to call this What's Right in Front of You is because sometimes we search for things in life when what we need is right in front of us. Just like the girl in the movie who she didn't realize her friend was the guy that she was, in love with or that liked her and everything else. And then they end up together, of course, like every rom com. But And I'm not saying that to like downplay rom-coms. I'm just saying that's what happened. But everything preaches to me. That's why I feel like I'm a preacher at heart. But but I'm watching this movie and it just made me think about in life, how we do in life. We spend so much time chasing money. We're chasing the bag. We're chasing, this type of friendship that has connections or whatever it is that you do for friends. We are chasing this relationship. We keep on chasing things when God intended for you to just let things flow. He intended for things to just happen the way that He intended them to happen at an appointed time. You don't have to go around getting out of breath because you're running everywhere chasing something that's not for you. You're running after something and it doesn't have a chance to find you. Like if you're chasing love, how is love ever going to find you if you're chasing it away? If you're chasing money, how is money ever going to come to you? You spend so much time hustling, talking about hustling hard, and you got all this money that you're trying to get, and you still are living paycheck to paycheck because you're not being a good steward of your finances. You still are struggling because you're spending so much time focused on the money instead of focusing on God. The money has become your God. Sometimes we really feel like we have to do all of this to get the things that God had appointed for us in our life, the things that were always supposed to be ours in our life. I see like people in relationships, and I always say this like as a relationship example because most people are in relationships besides me and a chosen few, so and so like when I see people I'm gonna forget what I was gonna say because every time I crack up laughing, I always forget like my train of thought. But it's just when we're in life, you see a bunch of people just chasing like the people that are single feel like they need to like chase after some guy. And I'm not saying that for every single person. I'm saying that for most single people that I see, they're like, and they could say, oh no, I'm good all by myself. But meanwhile, they put up with a whole bunch of crap. Meanwhile, they're saying they're better than the girl that they're with. Meanwhile, they're doing all of these things over the top, like doing so much to get this person who obviously doesn't want them. If they wanted them, they would be with them. And God never intended for you to have to go all out for a person. They're not God, you know? And sometimes we forget and we really feel like by telling ourselves that we're better, by telling ourselves that we are something else. Oh, I don't know who that was, but I probably should have answered it. Sorry, I had to answer a call. I wanted to make sure everything was good. So, just without divulging too much, I just had to make sure that, everything was okay with this person on the phone. So, wanted to make sure everything was okay. And now that everything's fine, my mind is like a little thrown off. It's just, life never really goes the way that you plan, ever. You could plan something and everything else, and you just never know how it's gonna work out. What's gonna happen that's gonna be an advantage? What's gonna happen that's gonna help you in life? That's why I think that it's so important to stay focused on God because no matter what mistakes you're going to make, and you are going to make plenty because you're human, no matter what you do wrong, no matter what's happening around you, as long as you stay focused on God, He will move things out of the way if He needs to. He will add the right people in your life if He needs to. He will give you the strength when you're weak, whenever you need it. He will do whatever it takes to make sure that you're good. As long as you're focused on God, He will take you the rest of the way. There's not one person, place, or thing that could do something to destroy what God put in you. And sometimes we get so distracted by life with whether it's the new shiny job with a bunch of zeros and all of the 401ks and everything else, or, it's this person, that you want romantically or friendship or something, and you just feel like, oh, this person is everything that I want this person so badly, and God's like, I know you better than you know yourself. I know what you need more than you know what you need. There's nothing that you could ever want for as long as you're focused on me in your life. And no matter what the You have 1 minute left. No matter what life throws at us, you know. And it's so funny because I'm gonna tell this story only because it might help somebody else, but there was this person who I just had to have. Like, I know it sounds weird, right? Like, this is how the adversary does you for real, because he knows what your type is. So he will like try to put your type out there so that you'll be wanting that. And then the next thing you know, you over there looking crazy because you got exactly what you like, you know? And you'll be like, this is how we talk to ourselves before things happen. While I'm talking with my hands now. This is how you know it's about to get real. But this is how we talk to ourselves. We'll be like, oh yeah, when I'm out here, I'm not putting up with this. I'm not doing this. I'm gonna do this way. And all see, even in the head movement is happening and everything. But we will be like talking such a good game, like, yes, I'm about to be about that life. And then here comes tall, dark, and handsome. And you're like distracted. I mean, you could be the roughest, toughest, like no nonsense having woman that I have ever met in my entire life. But if you ever heard me say it, women is to love as, that is to men. Like, seriously. Like, and I'm not saying that I'm trying to put baby in the corner. No, I'm not trying to put certain people like in just one specific category or like just like fence people in or box people in or anything like that. I'm just saying that when it comes to love and women, even when we are the strongest women in the entire world, it is still difficult. We still have flaws. We still have shortcomings. We still have things that we do the wrong way. We still don't pass every single test. We still don't see every single devil that comes our way. We still don't see every single distraction as a distraction when it comes towards us. Sometimes, and almost all the time, when the adversary pushes a distraction in your pathway, it's always something that you want. You don't even know why you want that thing that badly. You don't even know why that person is so appeasing. They could just be a normal person. And for some reason, it's something in this person that's making you feel like you want them. It's something and they might not do anything in particular. Usually, this is how the adversary works for real. Because I don't know if it's a soul thing. I don't know if he focuses on the soul, but it's some kind of, I mean, it might be like a therapist term in psychology that they use for it or something, but trauma bond. It could be a trauma bond that is attracting you to this person. Maybe you and that person both went through really crazy stuff in your youth, and for some reason, you don't know what it is that's drawing you to this person. You just feel this weird pull towards this person. They are a normal person. They look like a normal person. I mean, they have characteristic traits that you like. Like if your thing is, ooh, I love guys that are 6 foot, it's gonna be a 6 foot man. If you're a person who loves beautiful eyes, it's gonna be a guy with the most gorgeous set of eyes that you have ever seen. If you if you like guys who are good communicators or something, it's gonna be a good communicator. If you like guys who, whatever your thing is what the adversary is gonna use. I promise you. And when you think that you know that you know that you know what it is, you're still not gonna know what it is. And even as I do my healing, I notice that some things I can't explain what draws me to certain things or what makes me want certain things in life. Like there will be sometimes God will be saying, "Oh, do this," and then I'll be in my head like second guessing, like, "Is this God really trying to tell me do this, or is this like the adversary trying to trip me up?" Then I gotta like in my head, I'll be like, "Okay, well." if God thinks that I thought this was him and I did it, maybe I'll still be blessed and he'll find a way for me to get out of it if it's the wrong thing. That's what I try to think of. So that way I don't go down this huge rabbit hole of is it not blah blah, like usually if I'm confused, I know it's not God. If I feel a peace, if I just feel like, oh, I need to do this, I know it's God. And it doesn't even have to make any sense why I'm doing it. It just feels right. I mean, should I say feels? It just seems right. I don't know what it is, but it's just something that feels like, okay, this is good. This is God, you know? And but so you're probably wondering why this conversation went like a little left. I had a conversation with someone I was worried about. I was making sure they were okay. And it just kind of threw my thought process off because what I was thinking of is how in the past I would have like guys that I was friends with or things like that, and we would be so cool. I would feel so comfortable talking to them about anything. I would be like we would be cool, like it's the type of friend that you should have in a relationship, like in a romantic relationship. But for some reason, I in my head, and I don't know if most women do this, I don't know if most guys do this, but I was just thinking, oh, this is just a friend. But now that I'm older, I want a person who is my friend. And I went like all the way around the outside, all looking for something that wasn't even anything that I needed for my life. I went out of my way to be with people who I should have never been with in the first place. I went out of my way to try to seek things that were never going to fill me. I went out of my way to try to get extra money, to do money, I mean, to get money and things like that. Like hustling. That's why I always say hustling hard. I'm not saying it because I'm trying to get on one person or another. I'm saying it because usually when I'm doing these videos, these are things so I can keep myself in check because I need to make sure that I stay humble no matter where God takes me in life. I want to make sure that I'm always being intentional with my life and that I'm always making sure that I'm trying to be a better version of myself. And in order for me to do that, I have to be real with myself. I have to be like, hey, I still struggle with this. Hey, this is still something that is on my heart, is on my mind. This is something that's still troubling me. This is something that I'm still like whatever my struggle is, whatever my weakness is, I have to be real with myself. Some people, this is where we fall short when we start to lie to ourselves. In the past, like a while ago, I would always lie to myself. Even now, sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, this is good. I'm good. And then the moment that I talk to God and I keep it real with him, he's right there helping me through it. I just had to ask for help. I had to be real with myself and actually acknowledge the fact that I am not okay in certain areas. Acknowledge the fact that I do need God's help. Acknowledge the fact that I'm not strong on my own. And God is the strength when I'm weak. And sometimes we don't realize that that's what it is that we actually need. Sometimes we don't realize that those things that we're using to fulfill us, those things that we're using that we feel like are going to make us forget about things in our life, make us feel like we don't have to really face the real things or the things that are just distracting us. They're the things that are holding us back in life. When when I was younger, I would always try to search for something to fill that empty spot in my soul. I would always look for a person, place, or thing that was going to make me feel like I wasn't empty inside. Like I wasn't missing anything. And I know it's so weird to say that, but I always felt like there was something missing in my life. And I would try to look for it in one person, one place, one thing, whatever it was, like boyfriend after boyfriend after boyfriend after boyfriend after boyfriend, just being a serial relationship person, just always in a relationship. I would do this with, things. It might be like something that I do that was super unhealthy. And it's just like, really? Like, why am I even doing this when it's so unhealthy for me? But it would seem like it was temporarily filling a void places. Maybe I would be someplace that I wasn't supposed to be. And I'm there thinking that this is going to fulfill me, and it's not. I don't even feel like I belong in those places. I feel uncomfortable there. It doesn't even feel like it's me at all. And I'm sitting there searching for something in my life when the whole time all I needed was God, you know? And so I just, sometimes I really feel like we are hard on ourselves. We're the ones making our life rougher. We're the ones making it harder for us to be blessed, harder for us to achieve and to receive all of the things that God has for us. We are holding ourselves back. Every time we go into another relationship that's going nowhere. Every time we try to make some convince someone that we're good enough. Every time we try to Every time we try to lower our standards or settle for something less than what God has for us, we are we are destroying our own life. We are the ones who is making what God has for us obsolete. We're making it into something that seems like it's unachievable, but God always had it for us. We we settle for the guy who is never going to commit, who doesn't see our true value, who doesn't know who we are and whose we are, doesn't know how beautiful you are, how smart you are, how graceful you are, how understanding you are, how how you care about people, how you really truly are a decent human being. You know, you for guys, you settle for the girl who looks amazing, but is draining the life out of you. You're so stressed out, you're trying to do everything but get nowhere because you keep settling for the girl who wants to use you. You keep settling for the girl who doesn't see who you truly are. You keep settling for this girl because she's going to make you look good in front of your friends instead of a girl who's really going to speak life into you, instead of really focusing that energy on things that will be pleasing to God, instead of really doing the things. And I feel like I could say this because I feel it on my spirit. We really we really sometimes get this lukewarm religion thing down pat. And I know some people are like, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I went to church one Sunday. I'm good. Like, God knows where my heart is. When you got to say God knows my heart, you know that you are settling and you're not giving God your best because you know what the better thing is to do and you chose to do less anyways. When lukewarm faith is like, I go to church every Sunday, I'm in Bible study, but I'm still doing whatever I feel like doing. That thing that I know I'm not supposed to be doing, but I gotta do it anyways because I could at least do this. It's better than what some other people are doing. That is not that is not helping you. You can't be worried about what everybody else is doing. Other people are gonna make their mistakes. And like Tony Gaskin says, their grace is not your grace. So you know what you're doing is wrong and you are in church and everything. This might be like your Achilles heel. This might be the thing that is like the hardest for you. It could be lust. It could be whatever, talking about people. It could be whatever it is. And you, instead of just being like, I'm going to be the best me that I can be, you say, well, at least I'm better than Cynthia. At least I'm better than Samantha. At least I'm better than Taylor. Like, you can't think about you being better than somebody else. You and someone else is not a comparison. You are both human beings. The only thing that you should be focused on is God and being the best version of yourself. Because when it comes time for Judgment Day, you are going to be the one that's standing there. You, Cynthia Taylor, and whoever else is not, and Samantha is not going to be standing there all together with the same ruling because you knew better, you know? And so sometimes we really try to be lukewarm. We try to act like, well, at least I'm doing better than such and such. At least I'm not doing what such and such is doing. At least I go to church every Sunday. At least I'm in Bible study. Meanwhile, you are doing intentionally doing the wrong thing. And then you look over your life and you wonder why you're not blessed. I'm not talking about real life events happening. That's going to happen. I'm talking about where you are working. You are going to church every Sunday. But because of that one thing that you can't let go of and you choose to not do better in, you are in the same position. You can't understand why. You seem like you're on the outside. To other people, you look like you're doing the right thing. But you know what you're doing, and God knows. So You just have to stay focused on God and just keep trying to do better. I always hear people say that the best way to fight against lust, and when I say lust, people just automatically assume one thing or another, but I mean like something that your flesh wants so badly. It could be whatever it is. It doesn't have to be one specific thing or another. It could be several different things. If you know that the flesh is weak and you really want this food, if you really want this person, whatever place or thing, whatever it is, you need to try to be strong enough. You need to have a support system around you to keep you strong enough so that you don't end up where you don't want to be. Maybe you're like, oh, I like being here. How is it helping your life? Do you have peace of mind while you are giving into that temptation? If your answer is no, if you haven't had peace in your life and you say that you have God, you don't have God. You don't. I used to think that I had God in my life, like I was really being religious, or I was really being faithful and things like that, until I rededicated my life to God, and I started to starve my flesh. I started to, and when I say starve my flesh, I mean from foods, I mean from certain types of things. I don't mean one thing or another. I mean, when I really started to not eat all of these unhealthy foods, do I indulge in some unhealthy foods here and there? Yes. Do I eat it every day? No. I try to make sure that I have a healthy balance, or like if I am eating unhealthy, it's one day a week or something like that. I try not to do more than one day a week. I try not to do several different things. I try to do like one thing or another. Or if there's two things, like maybe I eat one unhealthy dish and there's a dessert that I eat that's like a small thin piece of cake or a spoonful of something like that. I try to do something like that, or half of something. I try not to indulge in the entire thing because I don't want to ever be in a position where something else has control over me instead of me having control over it. You know what I'm saying? And do I always do the right thing? No. But do I always try to do better and do the right thing? Yes. I would never intentionally go out of my way to do something wrong, you know? And before I was like, I would, this is the type of Christian I was. I was the type of Christian that, I'd be like, God, please let me get here safe. Or like, God, if you get me out of this, I was that type of Christian. I go to church every once in a while type of Christian. I knew Bible study was on Wednesdays, but it was too late kind of Christian. You know, I was like reading the Bible, oh, that's boring kind of Christian. I was the, well, I'm going to pray, when things get rough kind of Christian. Not like I'm a pray. I would pray sometimes during the day and be like, thank you, God, for this day, or something like that. Or the God is good, God is great kind of Christian. Like not the I'm being intentional with my religion. Not in the I want to be disciplined because I want to be pleasing to God kind of Christian. I wasn't the I'm in Bible study every week because I want to learn the Bible, because I need to be able to fight against all of these emotional, spiritual, and psychological attacks that Satan's trying to throw my way. Because when I tell you he knows what I like, he knows what I like. There's this thing that's around me that it just is everything that I could want. Everything but nothing that I could want at the same time. Nothing that I could need, but everything that I could want, if that makes any sense. I mean, it looks good, it talks good, it smells good, it has all the credentials, everything, but it's not good for me. My peace is disturbed when I'm with this thing. My my peace, my focus is distracted when I have this thing in my life. My self-esteem is wavy when this thing is in my life. And I know you're probably saying, well, that means it's not good for you. It's not good for me, but there's something inside of me. I don't know if it's still something broken in there. I don't know if it's a test. I don't know if it's just, I don't know what it is. But something is making me feel so pulled towards this thing, which makes me think that it's definitely not God, because God would never want something to have that kind of hold on me, you know? And the only thing that helps me is being focused on God. The only thing that helps me when I feel weak like that is when I say, thank you, God, over and over and over again. And the more I say it, the louder I get until it breaks, until it has no choice but to flee. And it's so funny because the thing would like keep popping up here and there. And I would try to be strong and I would feel myself get weak and I would pray to God and he would make it so that the thing would go away. He would make it so that the thing wouldn't even have a chance to respond. The thing wouldn't have an opportunity to be able to get in contact with me. Like he would just move things away from me that he knew meant me no good. And I'm so thankful for God for helping me when I wasn't strong enough to make it myself. Because he knows, like I was like, God, I do want this thing so badly. I just I need you to step in and intervene because I'm not strong enough to let it go. You know? And God has literally been showing up and showing out, like for real. Like out of nowhere, this thing just disappears. Out of nowhere, I don't have to worry about it for months. Out of nowhere, like I just have this clarity in my mind, and the only thing that the adversary can use is, oh, see, you thought you were stronger than that, but you still fell for this, or you still did this, or you still want this. You know what? Let's tell the truth and shame the devil, like my pastor says. I do still want that thing. I do, even though I know it's bad for me. But because I believe in God and I believe in discipline, and because I don't have a problem starving my flesh, I'm not going to go after it. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to pray it away. I'm going to stay and create distance from it. I'm going to do whatever it is that I need to do and make sure that I call on God when I need Him when I'm weak, so that I don't ever have to fall where Satan's trying to tempt me, ever. And I know you're probably thinking that sounds so over the top, but this spiritual battle, this spiritual warfare that we are fighting in every single day is no joke. Like I like to pretend like it's easy for people who are thinking about being religious. Like you're about that life when somebody gets on your nerves, be about that life with God, for real. Because if you got all that energy for somebody who doesn't deserve it, imagine giving that kind of energy to the one and only God, the person who actually deserves it, the God who actually deserves it, instead of a bunch of people who don't want to see you win, or a bunch of people who are stifling your growth, or a bunch of people who don't deserve that type of energy from you, that's sucking the life out of you, you know? And oof, I just, I really do struggle with this one thing. And it's nothing that this thing did in particular. Just a regular thing, just like everything else. It really is. It's nothing, I mean, besides like something that someone said that is important to me. Other than that, it's not good for me at all. And every time I feel like a little twinge of weakness, I try to remind myself that it's not good for me. Every time that I feel myself get weak, I try to pray to make sure that I can be strong enough to not give in. Every time, I mean, it's really hard. I would like to sit here and be like pretending like, when you're Christian, you just don't go through any trials or tribulations, that, the guy that you like just likes you. Like, that's not what happens. You can't control somebody else. They are their own individual. You can't make someone treat you the right way. You can't make someone like you. You can't make someone love you. You can't make anything happen when someone else is is in the picture. The only thing you can do is what you can do and what God is allowing to have access to you in your life. If something's not working out with a person, place, or thing, it's because God has better for you. And even though it sucks, oh my gosh, I know how badly it sucks, especially when Satan dangles something in front of you that's exactly what you thought you wanted. But he's trying to get you to want something that's somebody else's. It's somebody else's. That man is somebody else's man. That job is somebody else's job. It is not your job. It's not for you. That thing that you want is somebody else's. If it was yours, you would have it. That person, place, or thing, that man, that woman that you want so badly, that's just so enticing, that you just can't understand what it is that's making you want her so badly. Satan knows what it is that makes you want her so badly. And even though it's giving you temporary fulfillment, it's going to leave you empty. And you wonder why you can't focus. You wonder why you're not making 7, 8 figures when you could be, because you're distracted. You're exactly where Satan wants you. And even though you don't see it and you probably think, oh, she don't know what she's talking about, like I got this under control, I got this in the bag. Do you? While nobody's around, while you could really take some time and ponder on your thoughts, while you can really think about what it is, how your life is. Could it be better? Are you grateful for the things that you have? Sometimes we act like, I'm going to say this and hopefully this doesn't give me a score, and hopefully there's no underage people watching this or anything. Sexually transmitted diseases are not the only thing that's transmitted. There's this one pastor that talks about spiritually transmitted demons. And when I first heard it, I was just kind of like, what? Like I did like a little like, okay, like, but it's so true. Imagine all your exes. Imagine characteristic traits that they had on them. Now think about your personality. It's like you picked up a little bit of them along the way on every single person on you. And it doesn't have to come sexually. It could come from a communication. It could come from just being in close quarters with that type of spirit. And you think it means nothing. You think that it's doing nothing to you. You're wondering why you're so confused and you can't focus. It's because Cynthia, Samantha, and Taylor's on your mind. It's because Bob, Jack, and John is on your mind. Like, you really have to be careful who you allow to be a part of your life, who you allow to be in close proximity to you. Do you want this type of person spirit on you? You're like, oh, this person's good, but not to marry. This person's good, but not to be with. Like, and I'm not saying it's just like from a guy's point of view. I'm saying this from a woman's point of view too, because we date all these guys who, I don't want to use a derogatory term. Let me just say all these guys who you would not seriously want to marry or be with. We think it's like no big deal. And this guy got so many issues, more issues than a magazine. He got more issues than than a box without the T. Like, you just have to really think about what it is that you want for your life. If you don't want your son to be like that, don't be with that guy. If you can't seriously see yourself married, and I know some people's gonna say marriage is not for me. If you want the marriage benefits, then you probably need to get married. Don't just get married. Don't not get married because you want to look good, because you want to sound like everybody else saying that marriage is not important or it doesn't matter. I mean, if marriage is going to be pleasing to God, I'm looking to get married, you know, with the right person at the appointed time, not a second sooner. In every distraction, I pray that God, I don't know what you got to do. I don't know if I got to tuck and roll. Whatever it is that you need me to do to get out that situation, just get me as far away from them other people who are distractions as you possibly can. I don't care if I got to cry every single night. I've been there, done that. I don't have no problem crying. I can cry and get over it and keep on moving. Like, just please, in Jesus' name, protect us. Put a hedge of protection around me. Make sure that nobody gets in who is not supposed to be a part of my life in a kingdom way. I don't want any person, place, or thing around me that doesn't have God in it. I don't want nothing if God is not in it. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. There's things that are tempting. Yes. There's things that I do like. There's things that I might want. But I only need what I need. I need what it is that God is planning to give me. That's it. Because He knows what I need more than what it is that I want. I might want this person with beautiful eyes that's a great communicator. But God might say you don't need somebody with beautiful eyes because that's what you used to like. You need somebody who has a beautiful soul, who you are attracted to. I'm not saying he's got to be a model or something else. We just really I pause it, so it might be a little off, but it's good. We just really focus on everything but God. Sometimes in our lives, we have these things that we want so badly, and it seems like it's good. It looks good. I mean, why wouldn't it look appetizing? Satan would never tempt us with something that we don't want. Like, you think he's really gonna have this guy that you're not attracted to be the person who distracts you? This woman, you really think it's gonna be a woman who, I'm not gonna say that name, who isn't your cup of tea, because she gonna be somebody's cup of tea. But you really think that the adversary is gonna bring some woman who is not what you want to be the type of woman that distracts you? You really think this job that is like, is gonna be the job that distracts you? It's probably gonna be the job that looks real appetizing. It's probably gonna be the person that looks really appeasing. It's not going to be the thing that you don't want, because then what test would it be? What kind of temptation would that be? It would not be able to distract you if it's nothing that you want, you know? And be be very vigilant, because it could come from anywhere. You could meet somebody in church and they could be worse than the people working and walking around in the world. You could be like, "Oh, I'm gonna date this guy because he's in the church. I'm gonna date this woman because she's in the church." When she walk into the building or he walk into the building, the whole building about to catch on flames. Like, you, I mean, in their spirit, and you just can't understand why you want this person so badly. We supposed to be focused on God. We in church looking through a Rolodex. Y'all don't know what that is. That's back in, like, way back in the day. But a Rolodex is this thing that sits on a desk and it's got a whole bunch of numbers in it and you kind of flip through. But anyways, now it would probably be like some kind of dating app. People would be just like swiping whatever way you swipe on dating apps and stuff. I think you swipe or check mark or something. I don't know, but you get what I'm saying. I don't want to know. And yeah, so we just really need to be disciplined. It's going to be hard. Ooh, it's going to be hard, because you know what you want. You know what you like. Ooh, you know what you like. You know what you like. And you don't know what it is. I don't know if it's your trauma bond, and you might need to go to some therapy, or you might need to spend some more time with Jesus. But you really have to figure out what it is that's making you want that person. Anything that's making you rush into something is not God. I met one person a long time ago, and I was like, I would marry this person next week if they asked me right now. I know that sounds so crazy. I'm not the only woman that said this, or man. So please don't judge me. Like, keep your comments to yourself. You can say it if you want to. It's fine. I mean, it's you. You're your own individual. I don't control you. So that is what it is. I'm just saying. I literally felt like that one time a long time ago. And oh my gosh, that person was, if, can I say this without it sounding mean? I feel like I could say this because no one knows who it is, and I really don't mean it in a horrible way. I'm just saying it so that I can paint a picture and people know what I'm talking about. This person, if Satan was incarcerated was oh my gosh, why can't I think of the word? I have it in my head. I can't think of what it is. I want to say it. Uh, I'm gonna remember after this video, and then it's gonna be too late. But anyways, reincarnated. Oh my gosh, how could I not remember that? But if Satan was reincarnated, it would have been this man that I would have married in a week, because I didn't know him, because he was all the things that, it was something that just attracted me to him that I just wanted so badly, you know? And I mean, whew, and he didn't look like Satan. He looked like I was gonna say he looked like a cherub, but let's not say that. He looked like this is what one of my friends says. I don't say this, but this is what one of my friends says. He looked like God took his time with this man. Like, but yeah, he looked like that. And then he just had this swag, this this super over the top swag, like, and then, like, when he talked, he could probably say one word and do one look, and he could make you do whatever he wants. Like, He had it going on like that. That's how I should have known it was the adversary. Because nothing should be making you want to, like, I don't want to say bow down, but nothing should make you feel like you're worshiping any person that badly. If you want somebody that badly, or you feel like you would bend to somebody's will, that is not God at all. I promise you, that's not God, because God would never intend for you to worship anything or idolize anything over him, ever. There was this one pastor, and one day she said, God is not in the business of making idols. So true. He is not in the business of making idols. If you feel like you would sacrifice your religion, your self-respect, your dignity, or your standards for this person, that is not the person for you. That's someone that you're willing to idolize over God. And I know you're probably thinking that's a drastic thing to say, but think about it. Why do you want it that badly? Obviously, because it's not God. And if you want it that badly that you're willing to risk your relationship with God for it, for a person, place, or thing, that is obviously the adversary. That's obviously not what God intended for you. And it's so weird because I met this one person a while back, and they did all the things that you would think that someone would do that would be a good person. I mean, people would say this was like such a great person. Man, luckily intuition is a thing and God is a thing, because God gave me the power of discerning the person and the spirit, and my intuition was just like, I don't know what it was. Something was not right with this person. Come to find out, the things this person was into, and I don't mean in that way, because everybody always thinks that for some reason, but the type of things that this person was into, this person pretended to be a good person, but they really weren't. They were just the type of person that wanted to hurt other people. They were the type of person who, I mean, they really did pretend to be a nice person, but really they just liked hurting people. They liked, feeling like they were in control. They liked being the person who kind of said when, where, and what you could do. They were the type of person who just wanted to do whatever they wanted while you only did what they wanted. And if you didn't, they kind of felt a certain type of way about it, you know? And that's why it's so important to have God in your life, because God will show you what it is that you really truly do need, not what you want. And it doesn't matter how nice or handsome the person is, or beautiful for the guys, or whatever else, whatever it feels like, whatever it is that's making you want this person that badly is not God. It is not, it's not God. I feel like I have to keep saying that because sometimes we want it to be God so badly. We want this person to really be the person. We want this person to really work out with this person, but they're not yours. If they were yours, they would be with you. God is not going to let the person who he has for you be with somebody else, marry someone else, whatever else. That person would be for you. He's not going to have you bending over backwards doing backflips for a person, trying to convince them that you are something that you already are. He's not going to have you have to be super emotionally expressing what it is that you really truly need. They would want you to be happy. They would care about your well-being enough to want you to feel appreciated and seen and heard. They would not want you to just feel like crap, insignificant, optional. They would really want you to feel the way that God intended for you to be treated as his child. And it doesn't matter where they came from. They could be in church, out of church, wherever else. If they're not treating you the way that God intended for you to be treated, that's not God. That is not yours. It's somebody else's. Somebody else's problem. I said it like that, but seriously, it is. It's not your issue. Like, that person's not grace for you. If they were, they would respect you. If they were, they would treat you the way that God intended for you to be treated. And I mean that on both sides, for men and women. We keep on trying to settle for the fly guy. We keep on trying to settle for, the guy who all the other women want. All the other women want him because we're all not healing. We are all broken in that same area. And I don't mean this in a general statement. I mean like most. I mean this like for people who aren't healing. I mean this for the women who are trying to seek something in someone instead of seeking it in God. I mean for the women who are out here and we all have this type, which is all different, but yet let some handsome guy walk in the room, all of us will be like, "Ooh, he's cute." Like all of us will notice this is a cute person, but yet we all have different things that we like or want. It's because whatever that person has, you don't need it. You probably don't want that. You know, you need to have what God needs you to have. You need to have the person who's going to be compassionate, who's going to be understanding, who's going to be communicative, who's going to have reciprocity. You don't want to be pouring from an empty cup, draining the life out of you, trying to give to somebody else who just has their hand out, willing to accept it, that's not willing to pour anything into you. You don't need to be with someone who never wants to talk to you about anything, who doesn't feel like you're important enough to pick up a phone. You don't want to be with someone who feels like you're an option, or spending time with you is optional, not something that they actually want to do. If a person doesn't want to spend any time with you, they're probably not for you. And I don't mean it like this person travels or something, some kind of extenuating circumstance. I mean like they have every possibility to do the right thing and they choose to do something wrong. It's because they're not for you. Any person that God has for you is never going to make you feel crappy and unworthy and optional. They're never going to make you feel disrespected because they don't appreciate your time. They're never going to make you feel like a worthless piece of crap. They're going to make you feel like the woman that God intended you to be, nothing less, nothing more, nothing less. They're going to treat you the way that God always intended for you to be treated. Am I saying that they're going to be perfect? Absolutely not. But they will never make you feel so insecure because of their insecurities, because they don't feel worthy, because they feel like they're not good enough. They're never going to want you to feel that way, even if they have something going on with them personally. They're never going to want to make you feel unappreciated, unheard, unseen, worthless. They would want you to feel like they actually appreciate and respect you as a human being. They actually care about you, your well being as a human being, as a child of God, as a woman of God. And I only say that because sometimes we make these excuses. Well, maybe this person's hurting. Maybe this person's going through this. Everybody is going through something. And am I saying not be compassionate towards other people? Absolutely not. But you don't have to settle for anything less than what God has for you at all, ever. There's not one person, place, or thing that's worth your dignity, your self-respect, and you having the things that God always had just for you. And another thing, when God does give you the thing that you need, do not allow the adversary to make you feel like you're not worth it. I met this person who was everything that I needed, and I got scared. I did. The person they had this list of the things and how they were going to treat me. And in my head, I was so cynical. I was just like, okay, whatever, you know, like, yeah, right. And they were just like, I want to treat you like this. My intentions are this, and this. This is how I want to do things. I want to hear about you. I want to learn you. And they were very intentional. They were very honest about whatever it is that, was going on with them. They were communicative. And I mean, super respectful. And you could tell they cared about my well-being. But because I met this other person first, I was in like a really rough place where I started feeling unworthy. I started feeling like maybe I don't deserve better because I was in that long relationship with someone who didn't see my worth. And now I meet this new person who people think is a kind person and they don't see my worth. So how could this other person really truly see me if everyone else is blind to who I am, you know? But God put something on my heart. They weren't meant to see you, because the person who God has for you is going to see you. They're not, the reason why you're invisible to the wrong people is because they were never destined to see you. They were never destined to have you be a part of their life. They were never destined to, they were never graced for you. And you can hope, wish, and cry and everything else you got to do. Do it. Do what you got to do so that you can get the things that God has always appointed for you, because you deserve it. It doesn't matter how many men have never seen your value or treated you the way that you're supposed to be treated. God has something for you, something that you truly deserve. So don't ever settle for less than what God intended for you. And in conclusion, you don't have to go all out of the way looking for something when God has it right here. That friend that you ignored, and I'm not saying this in general. I mean, I'm not saying this like as a blanket statement, because sometimes some people are in your life for a reason, and they're just there because this is the friend that you're going to have that's going to work in this place, and you guys are just friends until you get to a certain point in your life or something, and you guys both meet somebody, whatever else. That's totally different. Sometimes the person who is a part of your life that everything just seems like it just flows, and you don't understand, like, it's no tussling, fussling, it's no craziness, it's kind of just like, you're just you. You don't feel like you got to be anybody else. You can just talk about anything. You really feel content. This really feels like your best friend is probably somebody that you should give a chance to, especially if in your intuition you don't feel something wrong. I'm not saying you need to go after a person who's with somebody else. Don't wait till your friend's in a relationship and be like, oh my gosh, I just realized after 13 years I'm into you. Like, let that man be happy. Seriously. You did not want him until he was in this relationship. Let it go. So, and then the person who God has for you is going to be right around the corner. You don't have to try to go for somebody else's thing. You don't have to try to everybody run towards the one guy or woman that everybody else wants. Like, God has something special for you. It's not going to be what's for somebody else. That man who doesn't see your worth is not for you. That job that doesn't see your worth is not for you. That thing that you don't feel valued by is not for you. It's obviously someone else's. Because if it was yours, you would have it.